Okay, teachers, welcome back to another edition of Classroom Management by Design for the primary teachers. Welcome. We are heading into back to school season, so we're going to be kind of talking about behavior, talking about this mind-body connection, and how it can totally help us in our classroom management. If you don't know me, I am Lauren Zabigan. I'm the founder of Lesson Plan Toolbox. I've been in education for well over 20 years, everything from assistant principal to classroom teacher to kindergarten aide, and now I help primary teachers master their classroom management because that is where my passion was found when I was assistant principal. I just loved doing it. So today we're going to give you some strategies that go beyond ordinary behavior techniques. We're going to talk about those extreme behaviors in the classroom. Returning to the classroom after summer break can be so challenging and such a challenging transition for both our students and for teachers, okay? When faced with extreme behaviors such as hitting, cursing, utter defiance, or just those tantrums and dramatic outbursts, like breaking supplies and throwing themselves on the floor, these are all things that I have had experience with in the classroom, and I promise you, they are not easy. Traditional methods of discipline might not be effective here. For these situations, you need to dive deeper into strategies that address the underlying causes, right? And you hear this all the time. And it's not always easy to do, but we're going to give you some tips and tricks today to do that. Your goal is to provide immediate, practical solutions as best as you can, always keeping in mind your safety and the safety of your students. Number one, I'm going to say that again. The strategies we're giving here are here to help you, but you always need to be keeping in mind your safety and the safety of your students, okay? So our first strategy is called the emotion detective. Now remember, we're talking a lot to primary teachers, but older teachers, if you're seeing this, grow, change, and adapt this. Children often exhibit extreme behaviors because they're overwhelmed by emotions that they don't know how to express, okay? So instead of immediately reacting to the behavior, you want to take on the role of becoming an emotion detective. This involves a very calm, investigative approach where you gently ask questions to help the child articulate what he or she is feeling. Okay? And it's not easy to always do this, but I promise you, you want to maintain that calmness. We don't want to escalate things any further, okay? When a student acts out, just quietly pull them to the side and say something along the lines of, I can see you're really upset. Can you help me understand what's going on? You want to use simple language and offer choices to make it easier for them to express themselves, okay? We don't want them to kind of get tangled in a web of not knowing how to answer you or feeling like they're being punished right away, okay? Another strategy for a long-term approach to this is create a class culture of emotional intelligence by having those daily emotion check-ins where students can share how they are feeling using emojis or colors, or if you are in our community, you have access to these IPPY kits. Those are amazing for bringing in emotions, thoughts, feelings, and giving them a way to articulate what's happening, what they're thinking, okay? Over time, this is going to normalize talking about feelings before they turn into extreme behaviors. They're going to know how to articulate, this is the emotion I have coming on right now, and you are going to be giving them strategies to deal with it. Here's why this works. It shifts the focus from the behavior to the emotion behind it, which reduces the child's need to act out in order to be heard. The child is going to focus more intrinsically and figure out, where is this feeling coming from? and how can I shift this feeling? Okay. Strategy number 2 is called the reset space with sensory integration. Okay. For your students who throw themselves on the floor, refuse to get up, or engage in destructive behaviors, trust me, I've been here, it is not easy. You want a reset space. This can be such a game changer. This is not a timeout. Instead, this is a designated area. It has sensory tools that help them self-regulate. Yes, it could be a calm down corner, but if you're using the calm down corner, just be mindful that every tool needs to be introduced. And yes, you want to let them go and explore it, right? We don't just want them to kind of wander over there. This is to be used for extreme behaviors, okay? You want to guide the students to the reset space and allow them to choose a sensory tool, such as a weighted blanket, a fidget toy, or some type of noise-canceling headphones. Those are also a great tool. Give them space, but monitor them from a distance. Remember, safety first. Once they've calmed down, gently engage in a conversation with them about what happened. And you might try those I statements. I noticed that you... Can you tell me what was happening? Okay. You want to introduce the reset space to the entire class from day 1. You might call this a calm down corner, and that's fine. Okay. You want to teach them that it's a place to go when they need to cool down, not just when they're in trouble. And then, as a teacher, you are going to regularly update the space with new tools and allow the students to contribute to ideas for what they would like to see in this space. You maybe even have them build it with you, okay? You also want to make sure they know the expectations. You want to make sure that you give them a chance to explore this so that way it breaks the curiosity, okay? These calm down corners, reset stations, they can get out of hand, but if they're introduced appropriately, they're magnificent tools. Okay, so why do these work? The sensory tools you're going to have in there help your students reconnect with their bodies, which calms their nervous system. This is going to reduce the frequency and intensity of the outbursts, okay? I don't necessarily let them keep fidgets at their desks or sensory toys at their desks. I like them to be in the calm down corner or in the reset station. What works for one student may not work for the other student, so we have options. Okay, another strategy is the behavior stories. Just use this as a preemptive tool. Often extreme behaviors come from a lack of understanding of what's expected. I go over this when I talk about the student behavior scenario of the day cards, right? Behavior stories are personalized narratives that outline expected behavior scenarios. These help your students to anticipate and prepare for what's expected of them, okay? If you are inside our community, your student behavior scenario of the day cards do this for you every single day, consistently, easily, and effectively, so you can have these conversations. And talking about behavior and talking about the expectations is going to help your students know how to behave. If a student is frequently defiant or refuses to participate, you want to create a behavior story that includes them as a character, them as the protagonist, okay? So, for example, you might say something along the lines, Sammy learns how to ask for help. Could you illustrate how that student could handle these situations without acting out and behaving drastically and inappropriately? Let them come up with the language and use their imagination to create the story and the solution. And that's the important part. They are creating the solution. Use behavior stories proactively. Before high-stress events like transitions or group work, read these stories to your class and then discuss them. Invite students to create their own stories. How fun would that be? Okay, give them ownership over the behavior. Maybe you say, give me a name. Okay. What did Alex do in the bathroom today? And see what they come up with. Okay, maybe give them 3 words. Alex, bathroom, water everywhere. See what happens. Personalizing the expected behaviors in a story format makes it very relatable to them and very memorable for your youngest of learners. So keep that in mind. This is going to reduce the likelihood of extreme reactions and hopefully reduce anything escalating further than it needs to be. Okay? Our 4th strategy we're going to share with you is called the problem-solving partners system. This is a fun one. Extreme behaviors such as hitting or cussing, these often stem from feelings of powerlessness, right? We're giving our power over to somebody. The problem-solving partners, that's like a bit of a tongue twister there, but the problem-solving partners system, this is going to empower your students to take control of their actions by pairing them with a peer partner or even the teacher if you feel more comfortable with it being you. And together, you and the student or the 2 students together are going to collaboratively solve the problem. It's a fun tool, especially because the students have an active role in coming up with the solution. When a student hits or uses inappropriate language, pair them with their problem-solving partner. Okay? Again, depending on the situation, it might end up being you or maybe the aide in your classroom. But the goal is to guide them through a structured conversation. If you are the guide on the side, you might have both students in front of you and say, so what happened? Followed by, what could we do differently next time? You want to encourage both participants, both students or both you and the student, to contribute to their ideas. Okay? Ask them what happened. What could we do differently next time? Okay. If you choose this one, you want to remember to rotate problem partners probably weekly, just so students don't become too comfortable talking and working with one person. We want them working with different peers, and then over time, this is really going to help to build your classroom community that is going to actively support positive behavior. So keep that in mind. What teacher wouldn't want that in their classroom? Here's our problem. Okay, let's get our problem buddy and let's see if we can solve this together. I'm not saying it's 100%, but it is a great way to get them starting to think in real-time problem-solving situations. So, okay, collaborative problem solving. This teaches children that they have the power to make better choices. It gives them the tools to do so. It's showing them the language to use, okay? And you're the guide on the side, coaching them through coming up with the solution. Strategy number 5 is called the silent signal strategy. Another tongue twister, silent signal strategy. For students who repeatedly engage in defiance or refuse to get up off of that rug, having a non-verbal cue can be such a powerful tool. So a silent signal strategy is going to allow you to communicate with this student without escalating the situation and without hopefully involving any other students in the room. It's just you and the student. It works really, really well as long as you are, again, introducing these signals and your students know, okay? So you have to establish a non-verbal signal with the student, such as a simple hand gesture or holding up a specific object. When the student begins to act out, you're going to use whatever signal you choose, and you might even let the student choose the signal. That's up to you. But you're going to use the signal to serve as a reminder to redirect their behavior. And then you're going to follow through with this by having a very quiet conversation, reinforcing the expectation. Teach the entire class this system. Teach the entire class the silent signal system. This is a way to maintain classroom order, to keep things fair, and have minimal disruptions. But everybody has to be on the same page. Make this a part of your daily routines. Have it be a part of your morning meeting so it becomes second nature. Practice it with them, especially in the beginning of the year. This works so well because these nonverbal cues reduce the likelihood of confrontation and give students a moment to self-correct without feeling embarrassed or defensive. You're just giving just a quick and their brain and their body is going to know, oops, I need to redirect. You have to start this again at day 1 and be like a broken record, okay? By diving deeper into these strategies, you can transform your classroom into the most amazing space where extreme behaviors are managed with empathy and creativity. You're truly coming from the community standpoint. It's not just you and the student, it's our whole classroom community. Traditional methods may not work with every student, but by understanding the root causes of their actions and knowing that so much of it has to do with emotions that they don't understand, which is why I created that Teach from the Inside Out program, and I'm trying to get this in the hands of so many teachers because it's so important that our students understand how to handle those thoughts, feelings, and emotions, okay? We want to create a peaceful and productive learning environment for everyone. But when they have these thoughts and feelings and they don't know what to do and they don't know how to process, that's when they escalate and they become these massive tantrums that we have in the classroom. Number 1 job, think about it right now. I told you at the beginning. Safety first. Your safety, the safety of your students comes first. Always, always, always. If it is safe enough, then you can try one of these 5 strategies. If you need to seek help, seek help. If you are not sure, if you are new to your building and you don't know who you go to for help, maybe it's not the principal, maybe you have a level coordinator or something like that that you go to first, maybe it's your partner teacher, you need to have that conversation before the school year begins. Before the school year begins. Maybe you and your partner teacher work out a system where it's like, hey, if I get to a point, can I just send so-and-so down here with a note to cool off for 5 minutes? And hopefully each of you maybe have a designated empty desk where it's like, you know what? Sit down for a few minutes, take a break, put your head down, chill out. Set a timer. Okay, I see you're calmer. Go ahead back into your classroom. Have a little conversation with your teacher and see if you can move on with your day. Okay? Trust me, I know in the heat of the moment, it is very hard to stay calm. But I also know in the heat of the moment, I don't want to say the worst thing, but the not so great thing to do is to get to a level where you're escalating with them because they're going to go right with you, probably even higher. If you need the child removed, seek help. Seek help. Safety first. Always, always, always. Okay, come back next week. We are going to do a whole episode on quieting a chatty classroom. This has been one of the hot topics coming up from every angle that I am doing here at Lesson Plan Toolbox. So we're going to do a post about it, give you some ideas, give you some techniques, and hopefully set you up for some classroom management successes. So we will see you next week.